You gave me time when no one gave me time of day. You looked deep inside while the rest of the world looked away. You smiled at me when there were just frowns everywhere. You gave me love when nobody gave me a
Hello
prayer.
again. Welcome to Lost on the Way Home. So glad you tuned in to watch us because today we have a very special guest on our show. And, you know, all of us go through there's difficult things that we go through in our lives. Everybody has something that they deal with. Excuse me. But not everybody deals with things on such a high level of, how should I say, difficulty. So I'd like you to listen to these testimonies. To get a real clear understanding that maybe it's not so bad where you sit. Maybe your life isn't as bad as you think it is. And what we're going to hear today is just a real testimony to the glory of God and how good God really is. And I want to read you something out of Psalm 103, starting with verse 1. It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits." Now listen. "Who forgives all your iniquities and heals all your diseases, who redeems your life from destruction, who crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies, and who satisfies your mouth with good things, so that your youth is renewed like the eagles." And we all want our youth to be renewed. We struggle sometimes. One of the biggest things that we can deal with are health issues. Without your health, we don't realize how precious our health is until we lose it. So today on our show, I'd like to welcome Stephanie Petock and Marianne Petock to Lost on the Way Home. I know, Marianne, you came on the show a while ago to talk about life with Stephanie and how the Lord has blessed you with the courage and the stamina to deal with the situations that you've had to deal with. But we wanted to bring you on, Stephanie, so the audience can not only hear about Mom's testimony, but actually see you and hear from you because your testimony and the story of your life is so compelling. But I want to just start with when you were born, they told your mom that you really weren't going to live. And why did they say that? What did you have wrong? What was wrong?
CHARGE syndrome.
CHARGE
It's
syndrome.
a rare syndrome.
It's a rare syndrome. Oh, okay. And so you, through your life, you've had to have so many surgeries.
Yeah,
How many surgeries?
I don't know.
How many surgeries, Mom?
39. This coming Thursday will be surgery number 40.
Number 40. So you have had, in your young life, and how old are you now?
28.
You're 28 years old, and you have had 39 surgeries, and Thursday you're going to have your 40th surgery.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So tell me a little bit about that. How does it feel to always have to have surgeries?
I'm good with it.
You're good with it.
I mean, I'm in a lot of pain though. But
You're in a lot of pain, but you're good with it. You did.
Yeah, it
so
heals.
how can you be so happy about it, or how can you be so pleasant about all the things that you go through?
Because they could try to see what's wrong and fix it.
Because they could try to fix it.
Yeah.
And when you are, because a lot of people, you know, they're not they're not happy in their life. You always seem to be so happy. What's one of the things that makes you so happy in life?
Being with the animals.
Being with animals. You love animals.
And little kids. I love working with special needs kids.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
I
right?
love little kids, yeah.
You love little kids. And where does Jesus play into all of this? How does Jesus...
I have a gift of talking to autism people who have autism, and they get very verbal. And they start to make noise or talk.
Oh, so because with autism...
They don't talk to their parents. So I'm very patient with them, so they start talking to me.
And you
get so excited.
So Jesus has given you that gift to be able to reach people that regular, like an adult that doesn't have disabilities, let's say, can reach. Yeah. So Jesus has done that for you. How does that make you feel?
Good.
It makes you feel good, huh?
Yeah, I like helping others.
You like helping others.
I like doing the community center, Blythedale Children's Hospital, Meals on Wheels, and I like doing the animal shelter where I help these cats interact with them at the Elmsford shelter so they could get a good home.
My goodness! Let me tell you something. She's more busy with all of her disabilities than most people are who are just who's there's nothing wrong, and they just go to work and come home and don't really reach out. It's amazing to me.
And I help walk this wonderful owner's dog. Her name is Olive. And I walk her, and the owner feels bad because she can't leave her store. Because God forbid she left her store, she could get robbed, or can steal her supplies. So we walk the dog.
That's wonderful.
And Olive is so sweet and calm. She's a rescue too, but we have no issues with her.
Oh, good.
She's very good with us, good with other people and dogs.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
She's a Great Dane.
She's a Great Dane. And you walk the Great Dane?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's very big.
She's very big. So, Mom, tell us a little bit. I know that you were on the show once before, but tell us a little bit for the viewers who haven't seen that portion of the show. Exactly what actually is going on with Stephanie? Like, I know that she said she has the rare charge syndrome, but what does that actually entail?
Charge syndrome affects every single part of her body.
So every organ,
every organ, her brain, her balance, her eyes, her ears, her heart, her airway, her stomach, her gait, how she walks. So that, she was on life support for 5.5 years after she was born. She was trached in feeding tube for 10, and she's had 39 surgeries.
And what is it like? What is it like to take care of?
It's 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
I understand though that in all these years you haven't had a full night's sleep.
No.
So you've been through it.
Well, we ran an ICU in the house for 10 years, and she was hooked to a lot of alarms, and I knew every one of them.
And you know every one.
So I knew when one went off, what part of her body wasn't working. But I think the real miracle, Kim, is that when a team of doctors handed her to us when she was leaving New York Hospital after 5.5 months, they basically said, just take her home to die. She won't live beyond her first birthday. She'll be totally retarded, stare at the ceiling for the rest of her life. So my husband at the time, who was the salt of the earth, said, you can all go to where, because she's not going to die, and I'm going to dance at her wedding. And that's going to have to be
Although he died, so he's not dancing.
He will be dancing. Well, since then, unfortunately, your husband did pass away, but what he's talking about is the wedding feast of the bride of Christ.
Exactly.
So he will be dancing with her. But so in all of this, though, what is the thing that keeps you going?
My faith.
Your faith.
I tell everybody that if they meet me and learn about Stephanie and my life, that the only way I can do it is by the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
Because it's inhumane. It's been pretty inhumane. Yeah.
But without, it's amazing what she said. And people don't realize. People say, well, if you believe in Jesus and He heals all your diseases, why isn't she healed? But what people are missing is that there are people that have situations like who don't know Jesus, who have, say, autism, as to what she was saying.
Right.
And Jesus has saved her life. They told her that she was going to die, yet His hand has been on her, right, all these years, 28 years.
Yeah.
And she has a gift to be able to speak to the people with autism.
They used to transport her from the high school to the middle school to work with 8 autistic boys who were nonverbal with their parents. And I had a conversation with one of the teachers, and I said, why do you think Stephanie can get these young boys to talk when they don't even talk with their parents? And she said to me, because she doesn't expect anything of them. She just loves them.
Like, I don't force them to be able to talk.
Right, because you're loving, but that's biblical. Jesus loves us right where we're at.
Like, when I interact with Jacob, I love him to death, and I just sit with them and play with them.
Yeah.
So I love Jacob to her, so I don't force him to try to communicate with me. It's hard on him because of his disability, but I love him.
Right.
And then she works with the children at Blithedale.
Yeah.
And the teachers have reached out to me. They adore her because she works with young children who are on life support with trachs and feeding tubes. But she doesn't see any of the equipment.
No, I'm not afraid.
She's not
Not
afraid.
afraid.
She just loves on the child.
You see, and this right here in itself is a ministry. This is a ministry, and I know because I do know you personally. I know how difficult it's been. The whole. It's been such a difficult road, but most people could not handle this type of situation. Most people could not handle it, and it's so obvious that the hand of God is on you and gives you that grace. And look how the Lord cares so much for people who are having disabilities, that He would touch somebody like you, Stephanie, to go and try to touch others in that situation that wouldn't wouldn't necessarily know how to perhaps reach out to the Lord, or bring a glimmer of hope, or bring some light into their life. I mean, that's such a wonderful thing to do.
Most children that have had maybe half of her surgeries will retreat into themselves and just get very depressed and just shut the world out. And Stephanie has never been like that.
So she had to be on life support. She was on life support actually at home.
Right.
And she had a trach
And
a feeding tube.
Right.
So that she actually was able to come out.
Oh, it did.
That's amazing. That is an
Yeah.
amazing. How did that come to be?
Well, I used to fly back and forth to Cincinnati 3 or 4 times a year at some point, and there was an airway specialist from England, and I was sent there because if he couldn't get her off life support or the trach out, nobody could. So in 1996, I flew there with her in an airplane that was basically an ambulance with wings. Seriously. And we got to Cincinnati, and within a couple days she was off life support. And that was in 96. In 2001 he got her trach out. He took a rib and he grafted it to support the trachea because she has a lot of damage. And then last year that rib collapsed and her esophagus was smaller than a Tylenol caplet because I was watching her eat and she couldn't swallow. And so now we've repaired that. That was last February, and she's been trach free.
Trach free.
And then right after the trach came out, the feeding tube came out.
And this is really, I mean, how else would? Yes, the Lord uses medical science
To heal.
to heal. He does do that. I don't think people realize that just because you have to have a surgery, that's not a second-class healing.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord heals through the doctors, and what a testimony it is to the medical profession that she has lived.
Mm-hmm.
They told her that she was going to die, and look what the Lord did. No, your husband stood on faith. The Word even tells us that if you ask for what you wish, and you shall have it. He stood on his faith. Those in Hebrews 11:1, it says that faith is the substance of things not seen yet hoped for. And he grabbed that and said no. And here we are today.
He would always tell me that he saw life in her eyes. And while she was still in the ICU after birth, I was holding her one day, and she looked up at me and smiled. And my husband caught that on camera, and he said, "Marion, I'm telling you, she's not retired. She's not retarded. There's life there. She's just, her body has been assaulted many times, and just the pain of, being cut and sewn up so many times,
And you even just, you fell down the stairs even, in somewhat recently, and you hurt your leg,
Ankle.
your ankle, and you got through that even.
Yeah.
And she does Special Olympics. She rides horses very well.
Oh yeah, tell us about that. You do. You ride
It's
horses.
a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I like the canter trot.
And what happened one day on the horse?
I fell off the horse and broke 4 ribs.
You fell off the horse and broke 4 ribs. Oh my goodness! And you were in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I fell off the horses 2 times. One horse that was blind in one eye, and the other horse got spooked
By a branch?
by a branch, and I fell.
Oh my goodness! So you have to really be careful.
Yeah.
And so, who helps you through all of this?
Jesus.
Jesus does. And tell me a little bit about your relationship with Jesus.
I love Jesus.
You love Jesus. Why do you love Jesus so much?
He's a lot of fun. He's handsome.
Have you actually seen Jesus?
Just on the movies about him.
Oh, okay. Because he might not look just like that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that the Lord is the Bible says how beautiful he is.
Yeah.
He really is. So when you because you do read the Bible, and when you read the Word, what does the Word say to you? When you read the Bible, like, what do you get out of it?
I don't read much.
You don't read the Bible much?
She's read the whole Bible from beginning to
yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And she does God
Calling.
calling.
You do God calling.
Yes.
Okay, so you are reading the Bible. So what does it mean to you? Like when you read the Bible, do you love it, or
I love it.
you love it? Why
It's
do
an
you?
adventure, and
It's an adventure.
I've always wanted to meet Jesus and God, and I wanted to meet the people in the Bible, like Joseph.
Joseph is one of her favorites.
And do you think that Jesus, even though your mom has really helped, she's been instrumental in helping you through your whole entire life. Do you think that Jesus has had a lot to do with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. A woman of little words.
Not all the time.
Where do you see yourself in the next few years? What's the dream for your life?
Not to be a day program anymore. It's very like negative.
Oh, okay.
And I think they need Jesus really bad.
So why don't you bring them Jesus?
That's right.
Why don't you tell them about Jesus?
They may get offended because I don't know who's Jewish and Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
They may worship differently.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like you got all these different people.
But you can just show them love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. We
And I
show
just
them
wish
love.
the staff were more like tolerant people and their disabilities and not like get frustrated and annoyed.
Oh
Because
my.
we can't help it.
Yeah, right. Because you can't help it.
And complain too much about it. We can't help it.
So if you were in that program, what would your dream be?
Just be working with animals
And
and special needs kids, like little.
Oh, okay. So that's really where It seems like that's what
Yeah.
the Lord wants to do. You know,
the dream.
I want
that's
to be
the
like
dream.
at the Bronx Zoo and work with the animals, like gorillas. I love gorillas.
You love gorillas? Well, they're so big and scary. You love gorillas.
who's your favorite gorilla?
Coco. She's a gorilla that would sign.
Oh, Coco. I know Coco.
But she
Yeah.
passed.
Right. Right. I've heard of.
And I love watching Mighty Joe Young. He's so big. Yeah.
You know,
she's
Marianne,
raising her hand.
you That's just my director. We're running out of time.
Oh.
But that's all.
I thought you wanted to ask a question.
Listen, for you people at home, you gotta understand, God has such a wonderful sense of humor. It isn't, so many people think, religion is so solemn and, everybody has to whisper when they go into church. But God is so much fun. And what Stephanie is saying, He has such a sense of humor. He wants us to know Him, and He uses everything at His disposal to help bring about the knowledge of Jesus Christ in whoever would receive at whatever level they're at. And this is the thing that we don't realize, that we are in a community, in our communities that we live in individually. We really do need the love of Christ, and the Lord will show that any way He possibly can. And Marianne, I know it's been very difficult. I know that you've gone through losing your husband, and you've gone through so much trial and all the problems and the situations. It's been much more than a normal human life. But what we spoke that Jesus is the reason why you keep going in the grace of God and your faith. But tell me a little bit how the Lord interacts with you.
In terms of what?
How the Lord makes Himself real to you.
Oh. Well, I'll be reading the Bible, or I'll be doing my devotionals, and then that very thing that's spoken of will show up in the community.
Yeah.
Whether it's a license plate or, I was telling you about the story about well done, because I want to finish my course. I've recently retired, and I said to the Lord, every breath I take after this is yours. But you have to keep yourself well and not so distracted by circumstances and what life brings. And just the other day, I was bringing her to youth at church, and a pickup truck was parked in front of me at the light, and it said, "Well done," WELLDUNN. The same day, I got a retirement card from my sister-in-law in California, and the verse in the card was, "Well done, you deserve it." And so the Lord,
Wow.
it really has a sense of humor, because the way He speaks to me is that way. It just pops up.
And that's how He does it, to
and
let
it-
you know He's there and He's helping, and
Yes.
all these, and not only that, but just helping you make all the connections that you have to make, and all of the things that have to happen to get her medicine,
Right.
and all the paperwork that has to be done, the doctors. There's so many integral parts to your life, and it's like this one big machine with all these different cogs in it that have to turn and all work at the same time. And it's clear to see how the Lord is really working in your life. And I just so appreciate you coming on and being real and telling your story.
Thank you.
And we'll just continue to pray and
Thank you.
trust
Thank
the
you
Lord.
for having us.
So no matter what it is you're going through, no matter what it is that is holding you back or holding you down or frustrating you, the Lord is there to help. Sometimes He alleviates the situation, but a lot of times the Lord just likes to help you through it, because it really does strengthen us as people. It strengthens us and makes us understand that we can do a lot more than we even realize that we can do when we do it in Him. He wants so much for us to know Him and to work alongside with Him and to cooperate with what He wants to do in this world. It's not always the way we see it, or not always the way we think it should be. But when we cooperate with Him, miracles can happen all around us. So I have to ask you, do you know this Jesus? Do you know where you're going if you should die today? Do you really know that there is a heaven and a hell? And if you don't know, or say, I don't believe that, that doesn't mean it doesn't make it true. So I'm asking you tonight, before you go to sleep, ask Jesus to come into your heart, forgive you of your sins, because He surely will make Himself known to you. I want to thank you so much for joining us again on Lost on the Way Home. You can certainly follow us on YouTube. And until we meet again, God bless you always.
That's why I call you friend. You touched my heart, you touched my soul, and helped me start all over again. That's why I love you, Jesus. That's why